So many moons ago, roughly about 17 years, I made two videos talking about something very interesting that came to RuneScape. The ability to lend your item to anyone. Could be your friend, could be your worst enemy. And you don't gotta worry about it because, well, you can set how long you want them to use the item, and then once the timer is over, ka-ching! The item gets returned to you. There was a lot of really dark things happening back in 2007 and also 2006 of time frames, such as scams, people losing their entire banks, people crying their eyes out. I mean, if you get scammed on RuneScape, that is the equivalent for some people of losing everything in their life. And yes, this game does play a very big role in a lot of people's lives. Happy Friday. Hopefully everyone is doing great and wonderful. I haven't uploaded a video in about a week. I honestly really can't believe it. I've been utterly swamped with a lot of non-RuneScape work. I really do apologize, guys, but I'm just overly, absolutely, exhaustedly busy. Oh, wow, yes. Utterly, absolutely, overly, and exhausted. Not to mention, I owe you guys probably about maybe 12 new videos and about 200 hours worth of streaming. But I definitely just want to chime in because the last couple days have definitely been rough for a significantly large amount of people. And it's very stressful, especially the world that we live in, because social media is wonderful. It definitely is a great way to bring people together. I mean, you can very well find like a girlfriend and also a future spouse on social media. One of my best friends ended up finding his amazing wife, and now he has a beautiful daughter. They met on Tinder. I wouldn't necessarily consider Tinder so much social media, but I mean, it is the internet, so therefore social media is kind of taking over the internet, but you get my point. The internet has brought a lot of really good people together. Unfortunately, the internet has brought out a lot of really bad things of people. And it really sucks that, yes, we do have really good experiences in our life, but at the same time, there are evil forces, and unfortunately, evil forces control evil people. I try really not to get political too much on YouTube or any of my channels, rather. I've actually never made a political channel. But if you've been following me over the years, you pretty much can kind of really gather that I'm definitely not a fan of Sleepy Joe. And I definitely don't feel that someone should be murdered in cold blood just because you have different political views. Talking about Charlie Kirk, the tragedy that ended up happening 2 days ago. Yes, 2 days ago. Honestly, it feels like an hour ago, to be perfectly honest. But you really got to be an adult. And if somebody doesn't like your viewpoints in life, well, then you can go ahead and click the block button on the internet. Obviously, if that person is in your life, then you just either stop talking to them or you don't talk about politics. I actually have really good friends that have the opposite political views than me. And when we meet up, I don't drink alcohol anymore, but I do go out to bars and have luxurious cups of coffee. When we do go out and socialize, we talk about other stuff. It's called being an adult. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are still children and they grow up and they're destructive, disobedient brats that should be slapped across the face and beaten a little bit for their destructive behavior. But that is the world that we live in. And unfortunately, a father, a husband ended up passing away, which was absolutely terrible, not to mention on social media. And that's a terrible way to go out. So please keep your prayers, open-minded prayers, especially if you are on the opposite political spectrum as well. Not to mention, yesterday was also the 9/11 memorial, too. That also pretty much feels like yesterday as well. Another thing that does feel like yesterday, honestly, is 2008 RuneScape lending review. If you could do me a favor, definitely smash the like button. if you made it this far of me rambling on, I love you guys so much. I really do, and I really appreciate all of you all keeping the following going over the many, many years of my YouTube journey. But getting back to the RuneScape lending side, the dark side of RuneScape, yes, Jagex made this update because a lot of players were significantly getting scammed. And back on July 14, 2008, that allows players, free and members, it was available for everyone, to lend their items up to 72 hours, 3 days, or until the player logs out. Jagex first announced the development of this 17 December 2007, and the future changes. So they were working on this a lot, but when I started playing RuneScape in 2005, I was kind of really oblivious, not to mention I didn't really have any, like, RuneScape friends at the time. I definitely wasn't on YouTube back then, didn't start making YouTube videos until May of 2008, but I did experience a lot of people trying to scam me, and it was a very dark period of the game because there was no social media. You couldn't really get a hold of Jagex. They had no support. It was a zero tolerance policy saying, hey, if you go ahead and give someone your items for a trust trade, you're doing that out of your own free will, and, you know, be advised, if they don't give it back, well, there's not too much that can be done. Nowadays, you can definitely go ahead and report someone, but I've even talked to people that have said, hey, I trust traded someone, I reported them, and nothing really happened. And I mean, it's tough. How can Jagex really prove if you are having a conversation, let's say on Discord, and you go ahead and say, hey, come to this location on RuneScape, and can I please borrow, like, a nauseous longbow, or a nauseous scythe, or a T-bow on old school RuneScape, I promise I'm going to give it back to you. And then you trade them in game, and well, guess what? They log out forever and remove you from their friends list. RuneScape GP, it is destructive. It brings out really bad things in people. Very dark energies come out of scamming people, and also it's just really the greed. And I've seen a lot over the years. I've seen good people, and I've seen very, very bad people. I've had friends that have said, hey, I trust trade all the time. If I go ahead and lose an item, I'll own it, and it's my responsibility. And they actually never got scammed. Luckily, the people they were trading with didn't keep their items. But then again, the real question is this. If the devil can tempt you with X amount of dollars, how much of X amount of GP does it take for someone to go rogue and essentially say, hey, I got too much GP in my inventory. Yeah, this friendship is not worth the amount of GP. And that's ultimately really what it comes down to. Because back in 2006, I mean, if you gave someone like 15 million GP, that was a lot. That was actually more than a lot. Cheers, my voice is going bye-bye. Oh, yes. Back in 2015, 150 mil, that could have most likely been billions of GP. Nowadays in RS3. And old school RuneScape back in 2013, when old school RuneScape launched, 15 million GP, it was a lot. You may not want to keep 15 million GP, but what if you got like 150 million GP back in 2006 of RuneScape? That could very well tempt a lot of people. So I do remember this update fairly well, and I actually do remember covering this. If you want to see my old 2 videos, you can definitely check them out. But I remember that this gave a lot of hope for a lot of people. And I mean, it was a pretty decent update. Now, The way that I had an issue with this update, and the reason I never ever did item lending, a lot of people said to me, Nightmare, why don't you lend out your party hat? You can make a lot of GP. And that is very true. Back in 2008, if I were to lend a party hat, I could lend a party hat for 100k GP an hour. So I could make, theoretically, passive GP to just lend an item out. My whole thing was really about glitches. What if, hypothetically, there was a glitch on this game and the person I lent my party hat to ended up magically keeping it? Call me crazy, but I mean, glitches do happen in the game, and that was my biggest concern. What if I lent out an item that was very much irreplaceable, that took hours of my life to pretty much get and buy on this game, and it's gone. It's gone forever. Well, it's not gone forever. It's now the person is keeping it. What could I do? There's really nothing that I could do. Now, there are people that did roll the dice and, of course, lent out their party hats. I remember a lot of during 2009 and 10, it became really popular. Party hats pretty much did a nosedive to the moon. So a lot of people made passive income and people were okay with it. Me personally, I just never really got into item lending. I kind of really never wanted to take the risk of a glitch pretty much happening. But this was really a good way to kind of really give items to friends for the time being. And it could also make you some GP as well. A lot of people ended up lending out armor and stuff like Bandos armor, other types of weapons and stuff, which was definitely very much like it's not a bad thing to be able to give someone a weapon or piece of armor to use. The only downside is that you can only lend out one item at a time. So that's the caveat. You can't go ahead and give that person like an entire Bando set. You can only lend out one item at a time, so it also limited people from like running an entire, hey, I'm just going to lend out every item in my bank and be making like absolute amounts of GP, right? That would be pretty cool. It would also cause massive inflation as well, too. But otherwise, I mean, for the most part, this update was very much very remembered during this time frame. And did it solve an issue? Not really. People still get scammed every single day. I actually had to deal with this fairly recently in my old school RuneScape clan. People trust trading some stuff, and unfortunately for my clan rules, it's, hey, if you go ahead and trade someone something and if they keep that stuff, I mean, obviously I'll ban the a-hole for taking your stuff, but ultimately you're going to not get your item back. You gotta own up to your mistakes, and it sucks. A lot of friendships have utterly been destroyed on this game because of scams, because of trust trading, because of lending items, thinking that your best friend in the whole wide world would actually give you your item back. And there's even stories that I've heard from people that I believe that they have given people that they know in real life their RuneScape items, and they've been scammed from real life friend, people that they know in person, not just like on the internet, people they have met up with in person or they have a relationship with, a friendship with. People are disgusting. You always gotta think about the worst thing that could happen, and there is always a possibility for the worst of anything. It sucks, but you always got to have a plan for that one tiny percent that something terrible can happen. And sometimes, unfortunately, you can plan for everything and something bad can still happen. It's very tragic. But my whole thoughts on the lending review still remains the same. I think it was a great update. Me personally, I never dabbled into it. Now, do I think it would be beneficial for old school RuneScape? I actually really do. I might get a lot of pushback from a lot of you all that actually do play old school RuneScape only and primarily. I just got an agility level the other night, and it's not going well. I got 2 more levels to go until 90, and then I'm going to probably do some Slayer, maybe get like 95 Slayer, and then do some more agility, but agility just sucks balls. It's not a fun thing to train. Really looking forward to sailing. Train your rune crafting, Nightmare. Yes, I will. If you disagree with me, definitely let me know. I really do enjoy reading your guys' comments. Obviously, if you say something stupid, well, then it's just going to be mentally skipped over. But legitimately, I really think there would be value to add, like, item lending on old school RuneScape 1. It would maybe stop scams a little bit, a tiny bit. I mean, there's always going to be scams. There's actually a popular email scam going around right now, which is very disgusting. And if any of you all get this type of email scam, very much be warned. First of all the font in this email is very, very faded. So it's very hard to actually read anything. But it is straight up a phishing email link for you to go to an external website that's not Jagex, obviously. The website could very well look like Jagex, but there are people, good people, just they're not paying attention. Or maybe they never got an email like this. And it basically talks about, if you can actually read this on the screen, it is so hard. You can't even read it! That's how you know it's a scam, because you can't even read it. You have to log in. Yeah, if you ever get an email saying that you gotta log in, it's an automatic delete. And I actually read a couple months ago how a elderly lady got scammed for $9,000. $9,000 because she thought she was talking to a IRS agent on the phone. Little notion for anyone living in America, the IRS will never ever call you over the phone. They're always gonna send you a piece of mail. But $9,000, $9,000. Yes, $9,000 is still a lot of money in 2025, and it's very tragic. There's evil people lurking around every single corner, and it's very unfortunate. Do I think that elderly lady got her money back? I honestly pray and hope she did, that the bank ended up, like, kind of getting it back as soon as possible, but who knows? These people that do these scams, they do it really good, and they are very, very destructive at causing issues, so who really knows? But overall, short video for today. Probably going to get around to making a new one tomorrow as well. Get some PVM action. I did do a lot of recording for some PKing clips. I have just not really divided them up and kind of really made them into things. So I got a lot of stuff to really upload. And I appreciate the patience, guys. And it's kind of ironic because yesterday, I ended up getting some DMs saying, hey, what's going on? Where's the content? And I'm like, holy balls, yeah, it's been about a week since I uploaded, but I'm just utterly royally busy with non-RuneScape work right now. Haven't forgotten about the live streams. Like I said, I owe you guys probably about 2,000 hours worth of streaming. But NightmareRH is a highly advanced multitasker, which I highly encourage for everyone. And yeah. Let me know your opinions about old school RuneScape lending being added to the game. If you think it's ridiculous, if you think it's good, would you actually lend out your items? Let me ask you that question as well too. Otherwise, on a closing super note, spreading awareness. If you know anyone out there with any type of kidney related issues or any type of issues at all, A low-carb ketogenic diet or even a low-carb carnivore diet can really change your life. There's a lot of really good case studies coming out now about how it's beneficial just in general to cut out the sugars and the breads and the pastas and the sodas for at least 1 month. It can actually reset your body. Even if you're not suffering with any type of chronic illness, chronic disease, you can definitely go ahead and reset your body, get rid of all the man-made crap, and you actually feel significantly different. It's kind of like a caffeine or it's a sugar detox. Let me just say that. It's definitely a sugar detox. So if you know anyone out there suffering with any type of issues, definitely point them in this direction, please. And if you want more of NightmareRH, as always, check out my book on Amazon. I'm actually working on a second novel right now. That's one of the reasons why I've been so busy. That is probably going to be out maybe by the end of this year. Otherwise, I love you all once again. I'll see you either tomorrow with a new video or maybe Sunday fun day. Later.